Cornerstone, and today we are going to dive straight in. I hope you are enjoying your Thanksgiving Day and turkey and pie and everything that comes with that, and finding things to be grateful for. So one thing I know a lot of people aren't super grateful for is the amount of documentation that's required to process a home loan. And there's a really important reason behind it. So some people may be aware that we had an economic recession a while ago, and a lot of that was due to lack of documented home loans. So to combat that, now loan officers are required to collect information, document the information, and verify the information. And that's the reason that so much documentation is required nowadays. So we'll kind of review that, help you navigate those waters as well as possible, and get you all set up so that you will feel confident that you have what you need to apply for your home loan. So getting started, if you are a normal, salaried, W-2 employee, it should be pretty easy. You'll need to submit your most recent 1-month pay stubs. So for example, if you're paid once a month, you'll only have to turn in one. If you're paid once every 2 weeks, you'll probably turn in your most recent 3 pay stubs. If you're paid semi-monthly, so on the 1st and the 15th, you'll turn in 2 pay stubs. If you are not a salaried or hourly employee and you receive, for example, pension or Social Security or disability or child support or anything like that, you'll just want to make sure you turn in, instead of pay stubs, your awards letters or decrees. So for example, if you have Social Security, you'll turn in your Social Security awards letter. Or same thing for disability. If you receive child support, you'll want to turn in your child support orders, that kind of thing. So for pay stubs, if you're having a hard time finding those, I would get with your HR, or if you enter your hours into a payroll website like ADP, you can access them there. For things like awards letters, pension, Social Security, things like that, you're going to want to get with the payor. So the person giving you the money, you'll get with that entity to get a copy of your award letter. Moving on, tax returns, your most recent 2 years. This can get a little bit complicated. If you are not sure where your tax returns are, you have misfiled them, you can get them from your CPA, or if you file online like TurboTax, that kind of thing, you can usually get it there. As a last resort, you can also sometimes access them using the IRS website, and we'll link that below, so you can get those there as well. If you're self-employed, you want to make sure that you are either including a Schedule C if you're an independent contractor, or a self-employed tax returns, so your business tax returns. Make sure that you include those as well. A little note on the tax returns: when we say most recent 2 years, what we basically mean is the most recent 2 years available. So for example, it's 2018 and almost the end of 2018, but the most recent tax year tax records available are 2017 and 2016. So that's what people who are applying now would turn in. Make sure you include all pages. I know it's a lot. We know it's a lot, but just turn the whole sucker in. The things we look for are the 1040, both pages, and any schedule. So Schedule C, Schedule E, Schedule A, Form 2106, and there's a ton of stuff that we review. So when in doubt, just turn it all in. All pages, all worksheets, just turn it in. You'll also want to include your most recent 2 years W-2s if you're a salaried employee, 1099s if you're an independent contractor, K-1s if you're self-employed, that kind of thing. So make sure you turn all that stuff in. You will have certain situations where we may not require 2 years. You can get away with just 1 year. But I would just go ahead and be prepared to turn in 2 years. When in doubt, just turn both of them in, and we'll decide if we need both or we can just use one. Okay, so where to find those? Again, if you're not sure where your W-2s are or 1099s, your CPA doesn't have a copy, you can always access them through the IRS. And you're going to want to turn in like all W-2s. So maybe you're only working for company ABC now, and back in 2016, you were working for company J. You'll want to turn in J's W-2 along with ABC company. So everybody just turn it all in. Most recent 2 years. Okay, moving on. Some people have enough funds to use assets, so money they have, as income, which is really cool. Hashtag life goals. So if that's you, make sure you're turning in at least the most recent 2 months bank statements. In some situations, the underwriter may request more. So 2, typically as much as 12, but just be prepared to have 2 months bank statements. If you're using, like for normal people, if you're using your bank statements or your checking and savings accounts for your down payment, you'll want to make sure to turn in 2 months as well to show where those funds came from. If you're using 401k for down payment funds, make sure you include your most recent 401k statement along with your terms of withdrawal for your 401k. Where to find that? If you're not sure, you can't find your bank statements, you don't know where they are, your bank will be the most valuable resource of information, either online or in the branch or sometimes over the phone. So that's where you'll find that. Couple important notes on bank statements. Make sure you include all pages. So even if there's something that says page intentionally left blank, turn it in. We need it. If it says page 405 or 506, we need all 5 or 6 pages. So to be considered complete. So that's important to know. Other thing on bank statements, if you have any large deposits that aren't related to your payroll. So say, for example, your uncle gave you $10,000 for your home purchase. You'll want to make sure that you let your lender know where that money came from because they will probably ask. So just be aware. Next thing is ID. So you're going to want a government issued ID on hand. Most people's driver's license will work just fine. Passports work, that kind of thing. You're also going to be asked for your social security card. If you've lost it, you're not sure where to find it, don't panic. A lot of times we can work around it and use alternative documentation, but if you do have it, do turn it in. If you're not a citizen, so you're a permanent resident or you're here on a visa, just make sure to turn in the front and back of your immigration documentation card. So like your green card or permanent resident card, that kind of thing. Where to find it. So if you're not sure where your driver's license is, check with a government agency. So the DMV, that kind of thing. You'll want to get that as soon as possible. And your driver's license and your documentation cannot be expired, so you'll want to check for that before you turn it in. Other documentation. If you're a veteran, you're also going to want to make sure you have a copy of your DD-214 handy. If you are newly divorced, you will want to have a copy of your finalized divorce decree. If you own a home currently and you plan to sell it, you're going to want to make sure that when you sell it, you do keep a copy of your closing disclosure to send to the mortgage company to show that it's been sold. If you plan to keep it, you're going to want to make sure that you have a copy of your property tax bill, which you can get from the county, insurance statement, which you can get from your insurance agent, and HOA dues, if applicable, which you can get from your HOA group. So if you plan to keep your property and lease it out, make sure you keep all documentation related to that. So your lease agreement, first month's rent in some cases, and kind of talk to your loan officer about that situation, and they can advise, like for example for me, I can advise further on what may be required. Okay, so if you're not sure where to find that kind of stuff, again, check with the VA if it's your DD-214 or like the county, that kind of thing for your tax records. The other thing that you're going to want to keep in mind that you're going to have to apply for a home loan is your consent forms. Now, these will actually come directly from us, the lender. So you're going to most commonly receive what's called a 4506T. That's a tax transcript verification form. it allows us essentially to verify that the copy of the tax returns that you've given us matches what the IRS has on record. Super important. One little aside, it's very difficult to fake documents or, like loan fraud, that kind of thing. We probably will find out. We probably will. So don't even try it. Just turn it in. And why? Why would you want to fake that anyway? Why would you want a home you can't afford? So don't even try. Just turn in the real documents. So 4506T, that's a request for tax transcript. We also will commonly request what's called a borrower certification authorization. That allows us to verify things like your employment or your bank account balances, or whether or not you've actually closed on your home, that kind of thing. There are some VA-specific consent forms if you're a veteran applying for a loan, so we'll send those to you as well. And then there are sometimes credit explanation letters, so little inquiries that appear on your credit report. We'll send you a little explanation letter about that. So the consent forms and letters will come from the mortgage company. We'll provide all those for you. So that is what you need in a nutshell. And I'm already at 11 minutes. I knew I couldn't do it in 5, but oh well, it'll be all right. So hope you got a good list put together. And if you have any questions, you're always welcome to reach out to me. And happy Thanksgiving. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's go ahead and select, before I forget and go get another slice of pie, our next topic. So we've got, Loanfly and the Loan app. So we will talk about that next week. And this week we have earned our $3 contribution towards Habitat for Humanity, since we have the piece with 3 notches. So we're going to go ahead and send that off. And there it goes. You're welcome to matches. So anyway, thanks again for joining us. And again, I hope you have an amazing turkey day. Till next time. Bye-bye.